So I'll be real and say that black-white is probably still a problem no matter what we do. But given that we lost to blue-red and white weenie, or, white-red humans, and we have this updated sideboard, I would like to run back those matches and see what my chances are against them. Hedron Archive looked kind of nice, even though it was kind of slow, but just giving you that big boost of mana, which is kind of what Nissa's Pilgrimage is doing too, is very, very good. The Gnarlwood Dryad stock, I think, is decreasing a little bit, but I'm not sure what you can really do about that, because you definitely want a thing that you can gather into. You can't play like a super low creature count, but I don't know. I think the Dryad should probably stay, even though they're so bad against a lot of things. But maybe it's something like, you play 2 and you play 2 Jace's main deck or something like that. I don't know. But we did kind of rally there at the end, which is good. We beat two decks that I thought were good matchups. We lost to 3 decks that I think are pretty bad matchups. And now we fixed our sideboard to hopefully have a better shot against at least 2 of them. Like I said, white-black is still going to be kind of tough. We even cut the surgeries in favor of negates, but I don't even think that that's that bad, just because negate stops their Liliana and their Gideon, just like whatever their threats are against you. And it gives you a lot of time to actually draw into something pretty powerful. So I do think that negate is probably the way to go. I still like the Coax. I think the Coax is just very clever and deserves to be there. Humans and blue-red are still going to be pretty tough no matter what you do, I think, but I now have like 6 cards against them, or 7, I guess, with the spider. But before, I basically had none, so it's tough. But I think this deck might have to adapt just because of the Dryad issue, and if people actually start targeting it down. Like, at first, I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could play this blue-red Fever Visions deck, and then I got some reports that it was like not that great. And now, especially after playing against it a few times, I think I played the matchup like 3 times. If you have some sideboard stuff against them, it doesn't feel that bad. And at first I was looking for like a card that killed Thermo Alchemist and Fever Visions, and was like, yeah, I just don't think there is one. But realistically, like News Constrictor against Fever Visions is just it. Like, it is exactly what you want. It keeps like the cards flowing, which is nice. It basically just gives you a lot of selection while you also don't take damage. Plus, you put them on a clock, which is huge. Pulse of Marasa, it might not be good enough. Or rather, like, it is good in the matchup, but is not good really anywhere else. So maybe should not be in the deck. But I feel like their plan is certainly to burn you out. And the combination of like Pulse and News Constrictor is pretty nice in that if you have a Pulse and you mill into a News Constrictor with something, I guess like all the mill cards would just like hit News Constrictor, but maybe you need something else, Pulse gives you a reason to, or a way to actually like buy that thing back later on. Third Spider just gives you another cheap-ish threat, especially in places where you might board out Kozilek's Return. So, like, black-white, I think it is pretty nice, just kind of like gumming up the board and attacking Planeswalkers. Second Dismissal for the mirror matches, I think, is just a given at this point, and is definitely one of the reasons to actually be blue in your Emrakul deck, just because of how good it is in mirrors. But the black Emrakul decks may actually have an advantage, too, just because they're going to be able to pick apart your hand with discard, and discard might actually just be better than Summary Dismissal because it's more proactive, and you don't have to keep 4 mana open at all times, basically. So, yeah, that's it. These are kind of the changes that I would recommend going forward, and like I said, I would like to replay those matchups, but, can't do that. So, instead, we go 2-3, which is not a great record, but people are catching on. They're smart. They're like, hey, this deck did well. I'm going to play something that's good against it. And that's just going to happen. So be ready for that. And as always, thanks everyone for watching. And I'll see you next week.